And here they come. A reminder, a win for either side, and that's true of all four teams today, and they're guaranteed a place in the semi-final. We have Saudi Arabia against Mali to come, kicking off day 5 of this 51st Tournoi Maurice Rivello. Before all of that, time for the anthems of both countries. Obviously there's a slight technical error here, so we're still waiting for the national anthem of Mali to come booming out.
موطني
So finally the gremlins in the system put to one side, and finally in the glorious sunshine we can get day 5 at this 51st Tournoi Maurice Revello underway. Wait to take a look at both lineups here. And Gigi Di Biagio makes 4 changes to the team that won 2-1 against Panama in Avignon last time. 2 of those forced on him. Mohamed Abdulrahman and Mohamed Barnawi both suspended after their red cards. Abdulrahman Al-Obaid and Khalid Al-Asiri, the 2 players who come in, while elsewhere Rakan Al-Hamdi replaces Abdulaziz El-Awai, with Michel El-Aili coming in for Abbas Al-Hassan. Abdullah Radif has scored twice in the tournament already. There is our Austrian referee, Sarah Telek, supported by an Austrian team and a Maltese 4th official. And there's the Saudi Arabia captain, Abdul Malik Al-Oyayari. Joining him, Hamidou Makalu, the captain of Mali. Largely French-based Malian squad. Makalu at Brest, who has made substitute appearances in Ligue 1. Fousseini Diawara, talking of Mali, makes 2 changes to the team that drew 1-1 with France last time. One of those comes in goal. Mayame Sissoko makes his first appearance of this year's tournament. Diawara's used all 3 goalkeepers. He replaces Emile Doucouré. Sega Sanogo also comes in. Ibrahim Diarra, the other player to drop out. Gausi Diakite has now started all 3 games, and the FC Liefering player will look to add to the goal that he scored against France last time. Well, there are both benches. There is a touch of quality on there. I know that Ibrahim Kanate is impressed 1 or 2. Saudi, of course, without 2 of their regular options. Wonder how heavy those 2 suspensions will weigh on them. Now, we are going to have a ceremonial kickoff here. Nice moment there between Diawara and Di Biagio, but as is customary here in Aubagne, the Deputy Mayor, Pascal Agostini, who did not then appear on camera, which he won't be happy about. He makes his way off the pitch. You can see there he's just done the ceremonial kickoff, so we can officially get underway. Saudi Arabia against Mali, our opening game of match day 5, a game that Mali, remember, need to win. And Saudi look for a victory to keep their destiny in their own hands. So let's see what lies in wait. We've had 1 or 2 terrific games. We've had plenty of goals. We had that remarkable Mexico-Denmark game with the 2 stoppage time goals. It ended up finishing 3-3. More fun like that here, please, to get us going here on a lovely sunny day in Aubagne. So it's going to be Saudi Arabia to get things underway. Abdul Malik Al-Jaber, player based in Bosnia and Herzegovina with Zelnetchizar. Be interesting to see how these 2 match up. I think sort of lazy supposition that Mali have been the weakest side in the group and that Saudi Arabia have an easier task than either France or Panama later, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Mali lost in Fos against Panama, and that 1-1 draw against France was a good result, followed by a win in that shootout that gives them still a chance. Here's Abdullah Radif, the centre-forward who scored in both games so far. Plays for Al-Ettifaq in the very rich Saudi First Division now, the top flight. 3 goals in that top flight last season, but a player who may be starting to make an impact. There's Rakan El Ghamdi, who plays in Holland for NEC. Now Al-Jaber. There's Al-Elawai. Al-Dasari from, intriguingly, from Neom, of course, the intriguing new name in not just Saudi Arabian football, but Saudi Arabia full stop. Here's Al-Dasari. That was watchfully cut out by Sega Sanogo, one of the French-based players. The right back plays for Troyes. On the books there anyway. And the goalkeeper, Sissoko from Quevilly, from Rouen. Down in the National League in the 3rd division in France. Mali thought they ought to have had a free kick there, and here goes Abdullah Radif. Tell he's a striker full of confidence, going for goal from there, and no end result really. Looking at Radif, the Saudi centre forward, when you consider who he's playing with at Al Ettifaq, gives you an idea of how quickly he's developing. More of that in a moment because he's on the ball. It's a good bright start this from Saudi Arabia. Now Samake. Saudi Arabia certainly looking to dominate possession for Di Biagio in these early stages. Al-Aili tries to thread it through for Al-Jaber. Now Al-Asiri. There's Al-Dasari. Looking to sweep it wide there was Mohamed Al-Dasari, but it was cut out. As Mali just looked to find a foothold in this game. They're the ones, remember, who truly need to make something happen. Sanogo doing his job, just tucking in and calmly back to his goalkeeper, Sissoko. And that will just bounce all the way through to Osama Al-Mermesh, who started the 2nd game of this group and keeps his place for the 3rd. See that new development over on the far side, well, relatively new these days, an art space and a gallery and all of that here in Aubagne. Pretty scenic spot. Well, that's given away. Good bit of pressure there and then a tug on the shirt. So it will be a Mali free kick, and just a word of warning, I think. Yeah, there is a fairly big handful of shirt. He's lucky to get away with that in terms of a card. Abdul Malik Al-Oyayari, the captain. Couple of options here. Dan Sinate with the left foot. He's on the left of your picture. As Al-Mermesh just looks to get that wall exactly right. Yeah, it's left here for Senati. It's really poor. The crowd were getting behind that, and then it's just thrashed at by the captain, Makalu. It nearly turns into something, but side-footed comfortably, really, into the path of the goalkeeper, Al-Mermesh. Al-Obaid. Now Al-Dasari. And here's Al-Asiri. It's bounced behind for quite a cheap Mali corner. Picked up here by Ange Tia. Oh, they felt there was a foul there. Makalu, the player who went over, right on the edge of the area. If it was, it may have been just inside or on the line. It was hard to tell. Good spin by Radif. It's good size as well, isn't he, Abdullah Radif? It's going to be fascinating to see how he develops. That's Isiaka Sakuna, the squad at Rennes. Of course, it's one thing being based in France, it's another being in senior squads and so on. Al-Aili. Now Al-Elawai. There's El Gamdi. Sanogo. Carrying it really well, but just ran out of room in the end. Certainly an interesting start. Saudi Arabia looking to dominate possession. There's the Mali coach, Husseini Diawara. Been both assistant manager of the senior sides at Mali and Guinea under Kaba Diawara. It's nearly dangerous. Here's Al Otman. Now El Aili. Here's Al Jaber. Al Aili. Al Asiri. Here's Al Dasari. Forward by Al Aili. That's sliced behind for a corner.
Attentif, Makalou, attentif. Les gars, gars, t'es au premier, Dan, recule. T'es au deuxième, viens, vite. Recule. Allez, gars, fort sur les appuis.
Corner swung in by Al Jaber and missed by the goalkeeper, Mayame Sissoko. Here's Al Mermesh. Now Al-Asiri. Al Jaber. Yeah, Sanogo's done well there. She had a good start to the game, the right back Sanogo, coming in for this game. Both sides moving the ball pretty well. Saudi Arabia on top, certainly, but Mali are quite happy with this. Enormous figure of Husseini Doumbia at the back for them. Fourth tournoi Maurice Rivello, by the way, for Saudi Arabia. For Mali, only their, quite surprisingly actually, their second appearance. You consider their pedigree in youth football over the years. Abubakar Sidibe. Now Sega Sanogo. There's Makalu. Doumbia. Makalu. Three against three here momentarily. Terrific ball across. Super finish by Michel Al-Aili. Saudi Arabia in front. It's a really well-worked and well-taken goal to set them on their way. Excellent sweeping counter-attack, and that was the key ball. Fabulous ball across. And still, super run. Needed to get the header right. And he enjoyed that. Good start for Di Biagio's side, and now Mali. Well, they can't really afford to sit back. Austrian referee having a word with Rakan El Ghamdi. Sanogo. This could be an excellent response, though, if the ball had been right, but there's the contrast, there's the difference. At one end, they created a really good position and a fabulous final ball, and wasn't a bad position there either, but didn't have that final third quality. Cleared away by Al-Dasari. At the moment, the spring is very much in the Saudi Arabia step here. Here's the goal scorer, Al-Aili, and you know, when you consider the position he's playing in down that left-hand side, for me that's a really good spot. Great game awareness to see what was on and to make ground into the centre and get on the end of that. Plays for Al-Wedda, who were relegated. He's on loan from Al-Ettifaq, so a teammate of Radif, but not making that breakthrough into the first team, but relegated with Al-Wedda. Did score for them last season, so he's got a goal in him from that wide position on the left. Yeah, they want a flag here. Di Biagio down here in front of me, an animated conversation with the fourth official. Famously as a player of Roma, of Inter. Always remember him in that Foggia team under Zdenek Zeman, that legendary team, almost held up in the recent history of Italian football, a really iconic team, played in a almost unique way. He was, in many ways, the thankless task of being the holding midfielder in that side.
قرب من عندي، تعال من جهة. ايوه الحين رجال.
Up went Abdullah Radif. It's been a good response, this, from Mali so far to falling behind. Can they draw themselves level? Here's Sanogo. Now Makalu, the captain. Given away again, you can't afford to keep doing that as Al Jaber prods it forward. Now Doumbia. Again, they work it really well into the wide area. But again, they're not quite able to take advantage, and Al Eloi can bring it clear. Saudi Arabia side will play at the Under-20 World Cup in Chile towards the end of this year, or at least in the autumn. In a group already, we know, with Colombia, Norway, Nigeria. Mali did not make it. Finished behind Senegal and Gambia in their group. Lost against Senegal and drew with Gambia. Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, South Africa. The four who will go. Great tournament, that. Remember Mali of old going well in that. They finished third twice, back in '99 and 2015 as well.
Avance sur lui, avance sur lui, avance.
The previous appearance here was in 2016 in Diadje Samaseku, who was great in that Under-20 World Cup. Played and did really well here. They're on the back foot at the moment, though, Mali, the 2025 version, and that was a chance. Rakan Al Ghamdi might have done better. A little bit frustrated with that. I think they are preparing a cooling break here. I can see down in front of me, and it's time for them all to take a breath. Saudi Arabia leading, thanks to a really well created and very well taken goal by that player, Michel El Aili. We can see it again here. Great quality on the ball in from Al Elawai, and as I said at the time, from that wider angle we saw there, you could see the run that Al Aili made. It's really bust a gut to get on the end of that cross. It's a time for everyone to hydrate, which of course is very necessary. And some words, wise ones I'm sure, from Husseini Diawara. See Dibiagio making a tactical point there. Roman born as well, Gigi Dibiagio. Played in the World Cup in '98 and '02, played in Euro 2000. Of course, some turmoil right now in the Italy national side, with Spalletti announcing that he'd been fired. Dibiagio, the former under-21 coach of Italy. Well, we're preparing to get back underway here. Saudi Arabia leading Mali by that goal to nil. If you're wondering about the time as well, we got underway slightly late. 25 minutes played, and there'll be a bit added on, of course, for that cooling break too. It's Mali who need the answers here. Don't forget France against Panama to come next. And then tomorrow we switch our attention to Group B, where we know that Congo are out, but we know that everyone else still in with a chance. Denmark, Japan and Mexico. Really competitive Tournoi Maurice Revello in 2025. Cleared away by Mayame Sissoko. Now Sega Sanogo with the throw. Here's Abubakar Sidibe. drop ball, and Makalu can continue things. It hit the referee on the way through, so it automatically has to be a drop ball. Here's Sekou Kone, but he's not able to control. Now Sidibe. Al-Jaber not quite able to control there. Certainly plenty of passion from a Mali perspective, from fans and from the bench as well. There's Fousseni Doumbia in the B team at Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany, played 30 times for them last season, born in Germany, and certainly a player to watch, the big number 4. Well, that's given away. And that was a coming together, and hard to work out who was at fault there. 2 players down. Time for the Austrian referee to pick the pieces out of this. Let's have a look again. Well, they both just fall awkwardly, don't they? Just a twist, really, as they made contact. Nothing more than that. Saudi Arabia still leading by a goal to 0 as we approach the half hour. See just how hot it is. Plenty of players taking on water here. Michal Alaili, scorer of the only goal of this game. One at the moment that would take Saudi Arabia into the semi-final, but much can happen in the meantime. Well, that was nearly perfect. It was a smart idea to spin and play it in behind, and it's interesting Diawara was out there applauding them for that. Just didn't quite get the execution right, but not far away. Sakuna.
Sur la touche, pour gagner. Serre, serre-le, serre, serre.
Volleyed in behind. Be a test here for Doumbia, who gets across and is not equal to it. The goal scorer was loitering again there. Alaili Now Sidibe. And the Mali fans all around me making some noise here, as you can probably hear. Team not short of inspiration. Sanogo. Well, that's a clever ball over the top, but it was a good piece of defending. Real smart body position and awareness there from Al-Dasari. Nicked away there by Sanogo. Now here come Mali again. Again they look for quality from Diakite. Do they find it this time? Not really. There was no one gambling in the centre. But here they come again with Diakite. Deflection that time, takes it behind. It's much better though from the African side. Just a sense that they might be getting closer. Opened up his body and might have done better there. Really good opening game in Obania. Saudi Arabia with the advantage, but Mali pressing for an equaliser. Big man Diawara was waiting for that. It was a poor pass given away, and was there a little tug on the shirt? There was. It was marginal, but it'll be a yellow card. Had to be this time. Same player. Aloy Ayari, the captain, warned right at the start of the game for something similar, so anything was going to do for him. Reminder, already 2 suspended here. Yeah, and it is a pullback. Pull of the arm rather than the shirt, but given the warning he'd had and given where it was, she has to book him there. Now, what can they do with a free kick? Waiting is Osama Al-Mermesh. It's a really good position, this. We've already seen Dan Senati almost chip one into the bottom of the wall. Once again, a few options here. They want something to happen here. They need that little bit of quality, and dear me, it wasn't there. Trying to go under the wall, trying in many ways to be a bit too smart. And the Saudi wall did its job. For me, that's not the way to go. I think it needed a touch to move it. I suppose if it comes off, it looks like genius, doesn't it? But they held their ground well. Again, looking for the runner at the far post. Al Aili won the header. Sakuna. Here's Makalu. Well, that's a clever reverse pass, really well done by Radif. They've got options in the centre again, and you know, once again the goal scorer Al Aili had made a good run. It didn't reach him. It was Abdulaziz Al Othman with the near post header. Others may be in a better position. Sidibe. Well, that's a bit wild and woolly. Needed defending there and wasn't done particularly efficiently, and then Radif went over. There was definitely contact, but the referee deciding there wasn't quite enough. The problem is, if she gives a penalty, she has to show a red card as well. Well, the arm came out, but I think she's just about right there. Not quite enough to justify a penalty. It's always interesting with those last player challenges for penalties. Of course, when there's no attempt to play the ball and double jeopardy and all that, referees wait until they are very sure, and I don't blame them. She got that one right, to be clear. It wasn't a foul. In the meantime, though, Radif has stayed down, possibly as a result of that challenge, the way that he fell. That's where he went down. Here was that challenge again. Fell awkwardly. Yeah, onto the shoulder, and those shoulder ones can be so painful. If you haven't had that injury before, you won't know, but it's be a lot worse than it looks, that. Tell you what, we're going to have a fair amount of added time at the end of this first half with a cooling break and several stoppages. Dibiagio does not want to lose his centre forward who scored in both games so far, joint top scorer in the tournament. See Majed Abdullah of Al Shabab warming up. Going back to the point I was making about this man Radif playing at Al Ettifaq. Alongside him in forward areas he has Damari Gray, Moussa Dembele, Carl Toko Ekambi. That's three really good players to learn the position from. Different kinds of players. It can be very like him, and Dembele to an extent, but great shooters. Damari Gray, such a smart player. A little bit of a flash point there. No need at all for that. Isiaka Sakuna and Michel Alaili. Referee's going to have a word with both of them, which is the right thing to do. Looks like Radif's going to come back on. Yeah, she's going to show the card. I quite like that. Particularly Alaili, because he shouldn't be raising his arms like that. So often referees let those things go, and I think he should be penalised for that. So I'm on her side with that one. I doubt Di Biagio agrees. Big booming switch of play beyond everyone. Nice idea though from Makalu. Here goes Sidibe. Good quality from him to set it up. What a chance for Wilson Samake. Scored in the opening game, but wasn't able to finish there. It did bounce awkwardly, but he really should have scored. How well did Sidibe do again? Yeah, he's got to do better than that. On his left side, running across him like that, and just scooped it, didn't he? Final minute of the first half. Sidibe. Little trip there on Sakuna, those two. Another little flash point. Understand there are going to be 5 added minutes, which is the least it could have been, really. Sakuna. Now Al Jaber.
Avance, avancez, avancez.
Al-Assiri. Or Yoyoyari. Diakite hit long for Samake, who just missed that great chance. No subtlety really in the running. couple of the 5 minutes already played. El Aili is Ange Tia, part of that Khan side that was relegated in the end in the playoff, scored in that playoff. Tia, an awful lot of responsibility for an 18-year-old, did well. Hasn't really been too involved here. They'll hope to get him on the ball a bit more. There's Samidu Makalu. Well, that's cleverly done. Gets a nice bounce as well. It's there to be finished. And they're level. Gausu Diakite. 1-1. Game and group very much on. And I must say, he held his nerve well. The bounce helped him, then that flick was really clever. He could have made a mess of this. Little back heel. The more you watch that, the better it is. Good instinctive finish. And his second goal in 2 games, his second of the tournament. The Malian fans loving that. Including the little ones. Great stuff. Saudi Arabia had a couple of chances and will feel they could be further clear, but when you consider that miss by Samake, Mali are probably worth their equaliser. And doesn't that change the team talks? Doesn't that change the momentum heading into the second half? Sakuna won the header, but he was looking at those around him. Heading for the final seconds of the first half. Mali level here. Can Saudi Arabia change that in the closing moments? Well, goalkeeper's committed himself, but he got some help. And that will do it. That will do it for what was an excellent first half. It really was. 1 or 2 little flashpoints and one right at the end of the half there. Saudi Arabia taking the lead. Michel El Aili with a very well taken goal with a header from an excellent ball from out wide from El Eloi. And then Gausu Diakite with his second goal in 2 games. He took that supremely well. There's El Aili, the Saudi Arabia scorer. Diakite with that little back heel followed by the rolled in finish. It's all to play for here. Half time, it's Saudi Arabia 1, Mali 1. Remain, and Both sides know a win puts them into the semi-final. They know a defeat, well, certainly for Mali, puts them out, and it would put Saudi Arabia in serious trouble. At the moment, we would be heading for a penalty shootout for that extra point, but really Mali need all three, and really that's the case for both of them. But we'll worry about that if it gets to that. Right now, nicely poised, Al Aili with the goal that gave Saudi Arabia the lead 15 minutes in, then Gausu Diakite 3 minutes into added time at the end of the first half, making it 1-1. Probably a goal that Mali deserved. No changes at half-time. And we're back underway. Mali certainly the ones with the support here in Oban, no question about that. You probably guessed from the noise when the goal went in. They could easily have crumbled, Mali, but they certainly didn't. They'll be regretting that opening match defeat by Panama, because they've acquitted themselves really well since then against France. And now here, and there's a chance right at the start of the second half for Ange Tia, the player I said wasn't getting involved enough from Reims. That's a difficult finish. In many ways, he does well to get it on target. Just didn't hit it sweetly enough. Certainly can't criticize him for that. 2 starts and 4 substitute appearances in the league this season. And as I mentioned, scored in that relegation playoff in which they were beaten. High drama always at the end of the French season with that game. Rarely lets you down. Forward by Sekou Kone. Diakite was there. But in the end, it was Samake who rather took over. Sekou Kone, remember, a Manchester United player. Played in the EFL Trophy as a substitute against Huddersfield. Hasn't played in the first team yet. But he's learning plenty. The 19-year-old Sekou Kone. How could he not be? Makalu. Now Sidibe. Mali have started really well at the beginning of this second half. That was Gausu Diakite involved again. El Aili. Now Gausu Diakite. Little change of pace from him. Suddenly they've got options inside the penalty area. That's a good hit and a decent save from Al Mermesh. Now Kone. What an opening this is, and Kone tries to trick his way through. I think Saudi Arabia have been caught by surprise here. And Mali building and building, and they make it 2. What a turnaround here. Brilliant start to the second half, and Wilson Samake with his second at the tournament. Mali trailed, and now they lead. And they thoroughly deserve this. There's the initial chance. But frankly, they were queuing up. Kone with a little burst inside, then he was smart enough to square it. Held up initially by Tia. Kone for Samake, and Mali lead 2-1. What a response. Did not see this coming when they were looking a bit disjointed. One down, half an hour in or so. I think they've got to keep going, though. I don't think they're necessarily going to be good enough defensively to sit on a 2-1 lead. At the moment, they're into the semi. DiBiagio will be fuming, but he's going to have to change something here. At the moment, it is all Mali. And it opens up again here, and Al Mermesh with the save, but the follow-up saved again. Two brilliant stops, but still Mali come. Looked like a foul to me on the edge of the area, but Al Mermesh makes another save. Mali just pounding away here. Goalkeeper has kept Saudi Arabia in it there. Fantastic double save. Initially Diakite, but then he gets to his feet and gets across and blocks again. Fantastic spring from the keeper to do that. Just outstanding from Al Mermesh. I think that's a yellow card over on the far side for... In fact, it can't be for El Aili because he's been booked. Saudi Arabia are going to make a change, which does not surprise me. There's Makalu. Al Obaid just wanting a bit of tempo from his teammates there as he played that across the back line. Well, they're waiting to make the change. It's going to be Abdullah Subait of Al Faisali who's going to come on here. Tactical note being passed by DiBiagio as we speak. But Mali right now are just not stopping. They are relentless. I do feel they need to score again here in this period. But they've come very close to doing just that. Massive credit to Husseini Diawara. Made a couple of tactical changes, and just in general, he's got them going, and boy, is it working at the moment. Nearly didn't see that coming. Dan Senate put under instant pressure by his goalkeeper. No need for that at all, really. Don't want to make those sort of basic errors because you do end up paying the price if you're not careful. Al Otman sweeps it deep. And now Abubakar Sidibe. Shown great energy and athleticism down that right-hand side. Switched here for Gayusu Diakite. Great first touch, but it was well defended by Al Obaid. Yeah, that's a foul. Be a Saudi Arabia free kick. Al Otman, the player who was brought down by Sukuna, who I think has been excellent here. It's not the best first touch. Sakuna goes in and wins it. Nothing wrong with that. So the Saudi Arabian change comes now. It is Al Obaid who's replaced by Subait. But in the meantime, what can they do with this free kick? Great to see the locals watching from the bridge behind that Mali goal. Abdullah Radif, the player who fancies this. He's going to strike it with the laces, but he didn't get it up and down in time. It was a good idea. The technique wasn't bad, but started way too high. A bit too much power, and he was done for. Dangerous moments here for Mali. Might get more dangerous in a moment, but beyond everybody. Al Gamdi it was who flung it across.
Avancez après, sors de là, sors de là. Macalou, on arrive à aller voir là-bas. Sors de là, on avance. Avancez. On place derrière, on place. Retirez au milieu. On y est.
Well, needs to be careful with that challenge. Didn't get the ball, but he didn't get enough of the players. One of those slightly grey area ones, that Fusseini Doumbia. He felt he was having his shirt tugged and he was right. But when you slide in like this, you've got to be really careful. Probably did just get a flick on the ball. It's going to be behind for another corner. Outswinger this time, useful header, good stop. Sissoko read all of that really well and got across and grabbed a hold of it. Yeah, good positioning there from the goalkeeper. There's Ange Tia. Here's Diakite. Thought about hitting it, didn't he? It's been a rampant start to the second half from Mali. Little touch from Diakite. Kone involved in all of this. They've allowed him his head a bit from the centre of midfield, and now Diawara encouraging them to chase back. Taking a risk or two, looking for a third goal. They lead by 2-1 here, Mali. At the moment, they're heading for the semi-final with France against Panama to come later on what always looked like being an excellent day here in Aubagne. Group B will come to its conclusion tomorrow before the semis and final in Salon de Provence, just down the road. Little push in the back from Wilson Samake. Again, it's threaded through, and look at the run that Diakite's made. The pass was on, and Tia didn't want to pick him out. Diakite played that ball in and then span and ran in behind. Time, Saudi Arabia here look all at sea defensively. They haven't adjusted here to cope with this much more offensive Mali with runners coming from the midfield. Final half hour, we've just gone into that. Looks like it's going to be absolutely intriguing. Gausu Diakite. Afterburners turned on, keeps going now. What a second half he's having so far. Still there is danger though. Mali know that, and you just wonder with these dominant periods here, do they have to take advantage? I rather feel that they do. Saudi Arabia preparing a change. Bada El Omaya is about to come on. Meantime, that's floated in and it's well defended. Sekou Kone. Back with Doumbia and all the way back to the goalkeeper, Mayame Sissoko. Forward by Al Jaber, that's a really useful pass. Mali a little bit stretched defending this. That's a good hit, and it's there! Through the goalkeeper it went. And Abdullah Radif scores in his third consecutive game. Silences the Mali fans, and Saudi Arabia are level. And those missed chances, those two brilliant saves by Al Mermesh, rather come back to haunt Mali. Goalkeeper should do better, but credit to Radif. That is some effort to score in every game so far. Mali certainly deserve to be in front. Saudi Arabia will know they're fortunate to be level. But can Mali go again here? That's what having his quality gets you. The ability to strike when there's seemingly nothing on. And he takes really big credit for that, Radif. Cooling break time. Time for Husseini Diawara to get some instructions across here. In a way, it's a good time to score, isn't it? Just before the cooling break. Some rather somber-looking Malian faces there. Final words from Diawara as we head for the final quarter of what has been a really good game. So much at stake. Same's going to happen, I think, with France and Panama. All on the line for them as well. Mali mustn't panic. A reminder that a draw is certainly not definitely what Saudi Arabia want either. Mali, though, have to win. Remember the tantalizing prospect of penalties as well to add that extra point at the end of this game if it remained 2-2. But still, that wouldn't be good enough. The moment, France on 4, Saudi Arabia 3, Panama 3, and Mali on 2 as Saudi Arabia break away again. Mali taking chances now. Abdelaziz Al Othman. Recovered by Al Jaber. Al Dasari. Now Subait. So going back to my point, if it finished 1-1 here, Saudi Arabia would have 4 and Mali would have 3. And then whoever won the shootout would add a point to that. So that could be enough for Saudi Arabia, but they'd be vulnerable to Panama beating France. Here come further changes. I mentioned Badr El Omer. Majed Abdullah is going to come on as well. Al Othman makes way, and so too does Al Jaber. In fact, the penalty shootout drama will be significant if we went there, because a win on penalties would put Saudi Arabia into the semis. It would not put Mali through, but it would be enough with the equation with France and Panama. But still got a long way to go. Mali have to win the game. Oh dear. The counter-attack was on, and he went for a strange kind of glory there. Wilson Samake felt that was on, and it most certainly wasn't. Lovely ball drifted in down that right-hand side beyond Samake. It goes and hit by Diakite. Felt he had to take it first time. Triple change comes for Mali. Ibrahim Kanate, Usman Tiero, Mahmoud Barry. Sekou Kone's been excellent, but he's withdrawn. Excellent in the second half. Ange Chia's got more involved. He makes way. Abubakar Sidibe have lost his energy down that right-hand side. They've got fresh legs for 17 minutes plus. They've got to score. They've got to win. Barry of Villarreal, of course, Tieno Barry had a great season there. Not him. Squad member of the youth squad in the shape of Mahmoud Barry. Usman Tiero of Rapid Vienna. Ibrahim Kanate of Anderlecht. Abdelaziz Al-Elawai to take the free kick. Easy catch. And they stopped him getting on with it there, and they do so twice. Tempers running very high out there. Warning for El Dasari. Mali will build from the back. Husseini Doumbia, not really allowed to build from the back, so lofted downfield, and I think they're better when they're direct, Mali. Can't allow conceding that equaliser to affect their confidence too much. They've done the right thing more often than not here. Here goes Barry, burst of pace from him, but he ran out of room. I'm not sure the referee's right about that. Right in front of the Mali bench, though, the way they reacted and the fans behind them almost put pressure on the Austrian referee, who's had a very good game. Superb delivery. In the end, it went just beyond everyone. Mali heads solidly on that. Got to keep to the defensive side of things as well. Allowing El Ghamdi to drift in behind on one too many occasions there. Got to try and keep that balance right between taking enough risks to get the goal they need and not give it away at the other end. Samake. Booming diagonal again. Here's Barry. Maneuvers it into space, tried the fancy one with the outside of the right boot. Skillful runner, isn't he, Barry? That looks like a foul to me. Right in front of the Saudi Arabia bench. Di Biagio can't believe it. Diakite. Makalu. It's held by the goalkeeper who made those two outstanding saves, Al Mermesh. Saudi Arabia going to make two changes here. Majed Abdul Wahed is going to come on. You can hear the train rattling past away to my left. Abdullah Zaid is the other player who's about to come on. Just about well defended. Radif, the goal scorer, scored in every game so far, is the player who's going to come off. He kept going after picking up that knock. Yeah, he's played well, Radif. As has El Eloy, his Al Ettifaq teammate. I like the look of him as well. Moved into the final 10 minutes here in our first match of the day in Aubagne, day 5 of this 51st Tournoi Maurice Revello, France-Panama to come. A little bit later on. At the moment, we'll need penalties here, which will prove hugely significant for Saudi Arabia. Not necessarily for Mali. Are we going to get a winner in normal time? Reminder, if Mali win this, it's such a knife edge. At the moment they're heading out. If they win the game, though, they're in the semi. That's where we are right now. And that's played through, and that's onside, and what a chance this is. Oh, he's played it beyond him. They can't believe it. Kanate was through on goal, tried to find Samake, had to go on his own and decided not to. He's got to take responsibility there. Will they get a better chance than that? El Ghamdi. El Umair. El Oyayari. It's broke down again. Still plenty of time here for both sides to conjure up a winner. Oh, that was sliding tackle from behind. He's lucky to get away with that. Here's Kanate, who had that wonderful opportunity. Can he create another for Diakite? Can Mali create at least one final chance? That's what they'll be thinking. That's all they'll be hoping for. Ibrahim Kanate. It's going to be a Saudi Arabia throw. Still full of fire, full of energy. Under 5 remaining here for Mali. Ibrahim Kanate. It's not all gone his way since he came on as a substitute. Both coaches learning plenty about their teams here. Three of the 90 remain. Mali with those chances at 2-1. Fabulous double save from the goalkeeper Al-Mermesh. Might be called into action again, but Samake doesn't do the simple thing, tries to be too fancy. The simple thing has served him pretty well, and he's turned his ankle as he trod on the ball. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Well, that was a bit sloppy, that one. Punch wide for Al Ghamdi. Oh, that's a poor challenge. That's a really poor challenge by Abdul Wahed. Senate it was who was accelerating away. Well, I think he's lucky to get away with that. Samake has been booked for his protests. Some referees show a red card for that, I tell you, that late. Chopping the player down, no attempt to play the ball at all. Borderline there. Goalkeeper Al-Mermesh is down. Abdoulaye Niakate is on now for Mali. Samake had that great chance in the first half. He's made a couple of poor decisions in the second. So, at the moment we tick towards penalty kicks. Right now, Mali with 3 points are done for. Saudi Arabia have 4. So if France were to beat Panama, later Saudi Arabia would qualify in second. But if Saudi Arabia won the penalty shootout and got 2 points, they'd go above France. So whatever happened in that second game, Saudi Arabia would find a way into the semi-final. Still waiting to see how many minutes will be added here. Mali, well, the equation's the same. They've got to create a chance and they've got to take it. Senate. 6 added minutes, so still plenty of time. That favours Mali. Di Biagio not happy about that, so time to find that moment to put them in the semi-final. They were there, and then they threw it away. Radif with the equalising goal. Already a minute and a half of those 6 have gone. He was unsure what to do there, the defender, so he hoiked it straight up in the air. Good decision from Doumbia, the centre-half, to come and win it. And into the wide area with Niakate it goes. Can he win them a corner? No, the goalkeeper holds on. 4 of the added 6 remain. Forward towards Kanate. Diakite gets a chance to run in behind. Diakite had to play it first time and didn't. But they have a corner. They still have some hope here. Get another chance. 3 of the added 6 remain. It really would be dramatic if Mali could do it now. Goalkeeper was unsure, but managed to get it clear. Sensibly plays it back out wide. Kanate. Another corner, but another minute gone as well. Reminder, Panama against France to come later on. This, though, is riveting stuff. Mali need a goal. They need a goal for a place in the semi, but it's cleared away. Still, though, the pressure from Mali. Another block tackle, another corner from the other side. Driven across and really well defended at that near post. As Saudi Arabia look to get out here. Well, he's going to go all the way back to his goalkeeper, is he? No. Makalu. Time ticking here. Needs everyone to get back on side. And they need to get it forward again. And they do. Great angle pass for Kanate. Ibrahim Kanate, Al-Mermesh saves! Over the crossbar from Diakite. There was the chance. 2 of them. Umar Pona, the goalkeeper's coming on for the last minute here for Mali, for the penalties. Always quite like that substitution. Oh, what a climax that would have been. Here it is again. It's a great ball. And Kanate steadied himself. Keeper made a good save. Spread himself, didn't he? Has to go with some height there for me on the finish. I'm afraid the clock is against Mali now. Maybe time for one final chance. Majid Abdullah will get the card. You see the French players arriving down here in front of me. Big game for them to come against Panama. Terrific opener to the day, though. We go to penalties. Mali came so close. Saudi Arabia still are close, but Mali are done for. But what fun they've given us here. Great effort, and they led. They came from a goal down to lead 2-1 at the start of the second half, but they couldn't hold on to it. Al-Aili for Saudi Arabia, then Diakite with the equaliser. They scored twice in 5 minutes either side of half-time, Diakite and Samaki, and then Radif with the equaliser that has given Saudi Arabia a chance to be sure of a place in the semi on penalties. It finishes Saudi Arabia 2, Mali 2. We go to penalty kicks. So it's interesting to see Umar Pona brought on by Husseini Diawara. It's almost smart psychologically there, because you're saying to the opposition, yeah, watch out for him. We brought him on specifically for the penalties. Tim Krul famously did it for Van Gaal in the World Cup, you might remember. So they'll just organise themselves. Just a reminder of how things stand. A point apiece for the draw. So France on 4, Saudi Arabia on 4. France with a better goal difference. Panama on 3, Mali on 3. So Mali can only get up to 4. That would not be enough. Saudi Arabia, however, can get up to 5, would move above France. So that would mean that any result in France-Panama, Saudi Arabia would qualify. Mali cannot, even with the points. 4 will be 1 short. If it did end up as a mini group of 3 between France and Saudi Arabia and Mali, which would happen if Panama won, then France would win that group because they beat Saudi Arabia. The other games were draws. It gets complex, but we hope not too complex. We wait for the penalty shootout. Saudi Arabia need to hold their nerve, of course. Radif, their outstanding centre forward, taken off, so he won't be able to play any part. Toss of a coin to decide on ends and so on, and then we can get things going. So the captains will be called together. Makalu's already there, no sign of the Saudi Arabia captain.
His name is Mali. number 15. I will still, okay?
So Al-Oya Yari is going to come across. They'll toss a coin to decide who goes first, and it doesn't really matter which end, does it? There's no baying fans at either end.
Can choose if you want to start or if you want to be second, okay? Blue.
Shoot.
First. You want to shoot first and you're second, correct?
Yes. But where?
This goal. This goal.
Yeah, so it was just a toss of a coin to decide who went first. Mali won it. And they go first, and lots of handshakes as always, and away we go. So we know Mali have already won a penalty shootout against France in Avignon. Saudi Arabia's first shootout of 2025 at this Tournoi Maurice Rivello. Finally, both goalkeepers making their way across. One thing I would say is that Al Mermesh was outstanding. Seeing Pona, the substitute keeper, on at the last minute, but Osama Al Mermesh kept Saudi Arabia in that. Brilliant display. Player of the match for me. Can he do it again in the shootout? He's taking his time, but finally he's going to get there. Dan Sinate to go first. A reminder, Mali can't make the semi-final. But Saudi Arabia can, if they win this shootout. Sinate up first, scores. Super slick, super cool. Majed Abdul Wahed to go first here for Saudi Arabia. Mali fans doing their best to put off the Saudi Arabia take-up. Pona hasn't touched the ball. The big keeper's on though. Here goes Abdul Wahed, straight down the middle for 1-1. Up next, big centre half, Husseini Doumbia. That was a heavy-legged walk, wasn't it? Put a lot into the game. The left-sided centre-half will hit it with the left foot. Lovely penalty. Slotted that neatly. Another substitute. Looks like Majed Abdullah of Al Shabab. Mali leading 2-1 in this shootout. Up steps Majed Abdullah. Saved! Was the keeper off his line? They're complaining that he was. I thought Abdullah stopped in his run up there, thus rendering that an illegal penalty. It's going to be a retake here. Keeper out to have a look. Do you go the same side if you're Abdullah? And he has to stay on the line this time. Got to keep his nerve, Abdullah. Save from him once, can he do it again? Goes the same side. I think that penalty is borderline in terms of forward momentum. I really do, because he stopped. He would argue the fact his left leg keeps moving makes it okay, but that is borderline. So 2-2. Sega Sanogo to keep Mali in front or to put them back in front. Power driven down the middle, Niakate for 3-2. Now Al Ghamdi to come forward for Saudi Arabia. Again, really well taken for 3-3. You can see the Panamanian players arriving down here in front of me ahead of France-Panama, our second game. It's going to be Mahmoud Barry, the late substitute in the second half. It's 3-3. As they both look to add the extra point. Very casual run up here from Barry. He's either confident or nervous. Confident, rolled it in. Lovely penalty. So now comes pressure here for Khalid Al-Asiri. If he misses, Mali will have a penalty to win the shootout. Top corner from Al-Asiri. 8 out of 8. Goodness me, penalties just get better and better, don't they? Even with these young players. Well, they've saved Gausu Diakite. Benefit of going first here for Mali. The keep scoring, of course, is considerable. Scored on the stroke of half-time. Long run up for Diakite. Stuttering run up right in the corner. 5-4 for Mali. Badr El Omair, substitute, steps up, has to score now. We're into that territory, has to score. Hona's already saved one, but it was retaken. Can he hold his nerve, El Omair? He can. So now it's sudden death. They've all been excellent penalties. Now we're into those that either didn't put their name forward or weren't chosen. Sixth penalty here for Mali. The other centre-half, Isiaka Sakuna, has seen Husseini Doumbia score. Now he has to do likewise. And does. Now the lonely walk. For Abdullah Zaid, another of the substitutes. Again, has to score. Here he comes, Zaid off the crossbar. Saudi Arabia fluff their lines for now. Mali win the shootout, 6-5. So as it stands now, France have 4, Mali have 4, Saudi Arabia the same, and France now take on Panama to see who's going to make it through to the semi-finals. Mali fighting right until the end. It finished 2-2 here, and in the end Mali won it 6-5 on penalties.